Welcome to the second session of this mentoring week, 6th week of mentoring. And here, since we are discussing mentoring HRD intervention, we have to see that how we are going to implement the mentoring process. So, in the beginning, as we discussed about the various rules related to mentoring process, we will also try to conceptualize mentoring as such, so that you are able to understand it. Now, the next thing that we are going to discuss is related to the mentoring process, or how we are going to implement the mentoring in an organization. And when we are going to discuss about mentoring in an organization, you have to see that what are the different stages of implementing a mentoring process in an organization. So, if you look at this figure, it makes you clear that yes, you are trying to extend an helping hand for the growth and development of the people in the organization, right. So, from this figure basically we conclude that the idea is to see that what and how things need to be done in order to help people to grow and develop in the organization, where you are going to use most cases an internal resource, that is senior managers in the organization. Okay. Here you cannot, mentors are mostly senior people or professionals in the organization who are take responsibility for the growth and development, provided it is a formal mentoring program. In an informal mentoring program, you can have people from outside, but in a formal mentoring program, in most cases it is the senior professionals from the same organization who take the responsibility for the growth and development. Okay. Now, if you look at the mentors and mentees and the kind of steps that is to be taken here is, so these are the different tasks basically, like selection for the mentors and the mentees at the first stage. So, you go for application, screening of the mentees, otherwise for the look at the qualification experience of the mentors. Then you go next stage the preparation, basically you conduct certain tests and see what needs to be done. Then commitment from both, then actually active mentoring starts, and finally you go for evaluation the closure, and then you get the feedback how the mentoring has worked in both the cases, right. So, these are the different activities, and then accordingly for each of these steps you have to ensure that both the mentor and mentee is matched, right. So, you are when you are going to select, you have to see that the qualification experience matches, both of them are prepared and committed to this, right. Then you have to see that yes, both actively participate in the process on an ongoing basis, otherwise it is not going to happen. So, there is need to be review, regular discussion and meeting with the mentors and mentees for their growth and development, right, while keeping the line managers in the loop and sharing everything with them. Then you are going for evaluation, finally review the results of this mentoring process and see what has happened, what are the benefits that have been arrived by both the mentors and the mentees, and then get feedback about the process. And then when you are going to offer this program next time, see what kind of improvement can be made, right. So, moving further with this mentoring task, what we are going to discuss now is the process. Okay. So, we are going to elaborate upon each of these processes in detail. So, the first stage basically are going to introduce the concept of mentoring in the organization, right. And when we are going to introduce this concept, as you remember in the beginning, that you need commitment based on sound principles, where you are going to have commitment from the organization in terms of resources, support and enabling environment, and also ensure that the HRD department is able to do it properly, right. And he is going to introduce this mentoring concept in the organization. So, what does it mean to say when we say that okay, we are going to introduce this concept of mentoring in the organization, and that is how we are going to introduce the program, right. It means somebody in the HR department had the idea that okay, it is going to empower people, it is going to see the growth and development of the people, and that is why we should go for mentoring. Okay. The basic idea is that somebody is thinking about it for the benefit of the people in the organization, okay. And then he is going to think that this kind of intervention can help growth and development, and as an alternative to other interventions that is available to them, right. Whereas junior people could be grown and developed to take up senior positions with this kind of intervention, okay. And at the same time it is going to benefit the organization in terms of empowerment, growth and development, career planning, and also managing the talent within the organization, okay. And that is why you have to introduce this kind of concept, and that is where you go for justification, right, to support the process of empowering. And when you say that supporting the process of empowering means that you giving them enough autonomy on how to do or how to decide about things that is to be done on the job, but they do not know how to do it, and that is where a senior professional comes into the picture and he tries to tell you that okay, this if you are able to develop yourself, probably you will be able to decide about it. Okay. And when we say that yes, commitment and support from the top management is required, so even if you have an idea and you want to go for it, the most important thing for you is that you need support and commitment from the top management, because it is the management who is going to provide you resources for this, because it is also an investment in human capital. But if management is not going to support this kind of program, then it may not be succeeding, right. And for that you need certain justifications that how it is going to help people to grow and develop, manage talent and these kind of things, right, at a broader level. But at the micro level you have to see that yes, you are going to introduce this concept to see that how people are going to perform more effectively, how they are going to exceed. Okay. So, it is a mechanism to ensure the transfer of the skills. So, if you are able to better transfer of your skills, you will be in a better position to work, right, and then you can apply whatever competence that you have on the workplace, so that you can demonstrate it more effectively, right. And then you need to specify the objectives of the mentoring program, because if you are not able to specify the objectives of your mentoring program, then it is not going to help you. So, in order to get commitment based on sound principles, justify it, tell the benefits and tell the management okay, these are the specific objectives that could be met through this training program, and if management commitment, support and resources are available, then probably it would help you to go for this kind of program. Okay. So, in the beginning, as I told you, when you are going to introduce this program, these are the things that need to be kept in mind, right. So, once you introduce the program and you got the acceptance, then the next stage you are going to create a mentoring implementation structure, that how to go about it, right. And what we are going to discuss now is that how to create a mentoring implementation structure. It could be related to different things. What are these things? Let us see. Right. So, when we are going to talk about creating a mentoring implementation structure, it means that what kind of structure is required, right, in terms of support. So, that you need to develop a strategy for mentoring, just like a training strategy, you also need a strategy for mentoring. So, first of all, what you need to do is from the HRD department, you need to document a policy statement justifying the requirement, need and the benefits of this, and why organizations should go for mentoring programs, right. So, your policy statement include these things, and if that happens, probably you will be able to convince the top management, right. Then you have you also state your strategy that is related to mentoring. It means that how mentoring would be carried out in the organization, right. What would be the process of mentoring, how it is going to be carried out, in the sense that who is going, how we are going to identify mentors, mentees, how they would be managed, all kind of things that is related. So, you develop your strategy, and whether you are going to have this mentoring program for everybody, or whether you are going to have for a select few which have been identified as talented one, so that when you are going to offer this program for them, it is going to be helpful, right. Once you have devised your strategy for a mentoring program, then you have someone who is going to coordinate these activities. Okay. So, you need to appoint a separate person who is going to be coordinating the mentoring activities, because you will have a number of mentors and mentees that is to be matched up, right. So, if you are going to have a mentor and mentees, who is going to coordinate this kind of activity? So, you need someone specifically to look after this job. Okay. So, a senior professionals or even the HRD professionals could be acting as mentoring coordinations. It means they are going to coordinate this activity within the organization, provided it is done formally in a structured manner, right. So, the role of mentoring coordinators is to ensure that whatever resource system and support is available is provided. He is going to see that how the mentors and mentees would be selected, how they would be matched, what kind of things they would be agreeing, keeping the line managers in the loop, and what is the objective for which the mentoring program is being done individually in each mentor and mentee case, and how it would be achieved, right. So, in order to oversee and supervise all these activities, you need a person who is going to look after the entire activity, mentoring activity in the organization. So, you need to appoint a mentoring coordinator. Then you also need to allocate resources in terms of budget and other things, so that this program can be carried out. Okay. So, you require different kind of resources, maybe meeting rooms, maybe other things, okay, where the mentors or mentees are going to meet, maybe financial help, okay, from the organizational side to create these kind of resources and support system. Okay. And then you also go for communicating and marketing this. It means, once you have decided that yes, you are going to introduce a mentoring program and you have developed a structure and policy statement, then you are going to make it formal. It means that you are going to communicate it to the in the organization that yes, we are going to introduce a mentoring program in the organization, and those of you are interested to become mentors and mentees are there, and they can apply for this program, and then we will go for a structured mentoring program. Okay. And when you are going to communicate, you are going to tell what are the benefits, why we are going to do it, how we are going to benefit out of it for both the the mentors and the mentees. Okay. And then you are going to discuss it with all the line managers, so that they can communicate the benefits of this kind of thing to everybody else in the organization. This would help in marketing the program to the people, and then people may be interested to apply for these kind of things. If you look at it from a different perspective, you do not want to market it, then you need to select a few people who would be who you want to grow and develop in the organization. And for that reason, again what you need to do is that you need to identify such people who need to be mentored. Okay. So, there are two different processes that could be adopted, either the organization identified or the management identifies who is going to be mentored, or you are going to offer a mentoring program for everybody, and then people apply and they are selected based upon certain criteria, right. And that is how we are going to create a implementation structure for the mentoring program. Now, moving to the third stage is basically training of the mentoring coordinators. Okay. So, once you have identified mentoring coordinators, you are going to train them, and you also need to identify the mentors and the mentees in the process. So, look at identifying mentors and the mentees. Okay. So, who is going to be selected as mentors and mentees? So, you are going to communicate and market this information through brochures, newsletters, posters and emails, so that everybody come to know that yes, there is a mentoring program in the organization, and how it is going to be helpful, what are the things that is in offer, right. Indicate the benefits, promote the program in interactive sessions. So, maybe the senior managers and HRD professionals can have meetings in different departments, they can communicate the benefits. Okay. And if people have certain questions in interactive sessions, that could be cleared, so that they know that okay, this is what is going to be offered and what are the benefits that could be derived from this kind of program at the individual level as well as at the organizational level, right. Then next stage, basically you make sure that yes, people are interested, you encourage them to apply, okay, publicly or in person, whatever is possible. Okay. Sometimes you know that people do not come forward in public, and so you ask them to apply in person for these kind of programs, because you think that you have been selected as a mentee because your knowledge and skill base is not good. So, you are not interested. Okay. The idea is not to improve your knowledge and skill base to perform your current job, but the idea is basically to ensure that you develop those knowledge and skills which would be required by you in the long term to grow and develop in the organization, both personally and professionally. So, this should be made clear to them, right. Then other process that could be adopted, that as I told you, that could be controlled on based on volunteers, either you select or ask for them to come out. Okay. And then what you can do, that either you identify mentors potential mentors, or ask those mentees who have been screened out or selected who could be their mentors, right. So, both way it is possible. Like when you are going to select mentees or identify mentees, there are two ways, that either you allow them to come out, so they would volunteer themselves to become mentors, or you are going to select mentees. Similarly, when it comes to selection of mentors, either you are going to select mentors looking at the mentees requirement and expectations, or you can ask even those mentees to select mentors which could be helpful to them, right. And that is how, through this process, probably you are going to identify the mentors and the mentees. Okay. See, the mentors and mentees are both employees with potential or who are high performers. It means in most cases you will find that organizations select mentors and mentees who have high capability in terms of their performance and growth, right. The idea is that you can further grow and develop them, so that they can take higher positions, and that would result in better talent development and management in the organization. And that is one of the basic objectives for which mentoring program is organized, structured mentoring program. Now, the next one is training of the mentors and mentees. That is also important, because simply matching the requirement of the mentor and mentee is not enough. You also need to ensure that they are trained, so that they can carry forward this relationship for the growth and development, right. So, you have to train both the mentors and well as mentees. How they need to go about it? Okay. In this relationship, mentoring relationship, basically both of them have to understand their roles and responsibility, right. The role of the mentor is to ensure their growth and development. The role of the mentee is to see that they are interested and motivated enough to learn and to grow and develop themselves, right. So, it is very important that both of them, the mentors as well as mentees, both understand their roles as well as responsibility in this relationship, otherwise it is not going to be successful. So, there could be joint induction, okay, where they are going to be acquainted with each other, where they are going to interact and relate with each other, where they can clear about their expectations about each other, so that they can be matched or clubbed together, right. So, it is very important for the organization to organize these kind of induction programs, where both the potential mentors and mentees come together, talk to each other, interact with each other, and try to develop find out the expectations from each other, so that it would help them to decide who is going to be their mentor or who is going to be their mentees, right. The next point is that even if they do not know each other very well, they can set certain parameters for the relationship which is going to be there, right, for both the mentors and mentees, and they are going to ensure that these parameters are followed throughout this relationship of mentor and mentee, so that it could be successful. Then you are going to have, when you are going to have induction program to mentors and mentees, basically you go for a structured program, you have an overview, okay. You start with familiarization. So, you tell, okay, these are the people who can act as your potential mentors. So, you disclose all the information related to the senior people in the organization who is going to act as mentors. Similarly, you also tell these mentors about the potential mentees, okay, these are the mentees, and in terms of their knowledge, skill, experience, this is what they have, which needs to be grown and developed, right. So, that they know that who are the mentors and mentees, and they come to know about each other very well. Then you move towards matching. It means that you establish the mentoring relationships, then you match which mentor is going with which mentee, okay. So, based upon their familiarization process, meeting the expectations and parameters for the relationship, you can decide who is going to be the mentor and who is going to be the mentee, and that is how you are able to have a number of mentees and mentors matched, and so that they can develop the relationship further and work it out. Then the next stage is, of course, as I told you, it is very important for mentors and mentees before they get into this relationship is to clarify expectations, whether they would be able to meet each other expectations or not. They also set clear parameters against which they are going to be evaluated in the future, and which is going to be acting as a criteria for this relationship as well, because if they are not meeting these parameters, the relationship might end in the between also, right. I give an example for say a student, a teacher. For a teacher, for a teacher, a student can be a mentee, and he takes the responsibility for the growth and development, and both of them work with certain expectations with each other, right. If one is not able to meet the expectations, then this relationship will not continue. Okay. So, both of them have more or less a clear expectations about each other, what they expect from the other, okay, and they work out certain parameters or criteria against which they are going to continue this relationship, right. So, it is very important that if you want to establish the relationship, you clarify your expectations from each other, set clear parameters for this relationship, and there could be different phases of this relationship. For example, as a student, sometimes you feel that you are encouraged, motivated by your supervisor, sometimes you feel that supervisor is not doing anything, sometimes you feel that you are not doing anything, there is a lull in the stage where your growth and development is not happening. So, there could be different phases of the relationship, okay, and then you have to see that how you can evaluate yourself through different stages to grow and develop yourself. So, that is very important, we will discuss it. Then each other you should provide feedback, okay, to the mentee that how well he is doing. Similarly, you also get feedback from the mentee that what is happening about yourself, whether you are continuing on the right track, whether you as a mentor you are doing something that is required or not, okay, so that you get feedback about your performance as well. And then all this relationship has to be based on certain ethical parameters, that is very important. What I mean to say ethical is that you need to respect each other, okay, trust each other, okay, and maintain integrity, that is very important for both the mentors as well as mentees. Okay. And what is more important is that mentor and mentees, once they are into a good relationship, they are going to establish goals and objectives which is need to be achieved in within time frame, and then they also decide when and how they are going to meet frequently on a regular basis or not, and how they are going to communicate, see to each other, discuss things, so that they are able to achieve the stated objectives, right. Now, after this induction program is over, we move to the next stage, that is matching of the mentors and mentees. As I told you, for a good relationship, it is very important that you are going to see that the mentors and mentees are matched. So, this starts with goal setting, okay, relationship goal setting, and when you are going to goal setting exercise, you know that we go for this SMART, as I have already talked about it, which is SMART stands for specific, S that, or it could be stretched also depending upon the requirement, M that is measurable, okay, A that could be achieved within a given time frame, okay, R which is relevant or realistic as well, and T for within time frame. So, when you are going to develop this relationship, it should be based on a specific goal settings. It means that when you are going to set goals for a time frame and you get into a mentoring relationship, you try to define what could be the goals and objectives in the process, then you adopt this formula to set your goals. It means you make sure that it is very specific, that could be achieved, or if possible it could be stretched even further if it is required. Then it could be measured probably quantitatively, I mean if it is not, then it could be measured at least qualitatively, okay. And you are going to set goals which could be achievable, not setting very high goal, because if you set very high goals and you are not able to achieve it, then you feel depressed, you have anxiety and depression, all kind of things, and you think that you are not worth doing or something is wrong with you. So, these kind of things should not come, and that is why when you go and set your goals, make sure that it is based upon your assessment of your strength and weaknesses and how far you can stretch yourself, okay. And then make sure that it is relevant in the sense that it could be achieved within a time frame, and that is how you are going to set goals in a relationship, right. Then we are moving to the next stage, that is the implementation. And when we are talking about implementing, once you have done all this, it means that you are starting the process. It means the mentoring process starts. Okay. Once you have decided about the need, you have looked into the goals and objectives, you have clarified your expectations, set the parameters for the evaluation. Okay. Now, the mentors and mentees are matched, and then you have set the goals. Okay. So, once all this is done, the next stage is that you are starting the mentoring process. That is, you are going to see that how you are going to help him. So, what kind of roles and responsibilities you have in the process as a mentor as well as a mentee both. So, make sure that when you are going to play your role, make sure that the people, the mentee is going to do those things which is required within a given time frame. So, you develop action plan for different activities, have deadlines for each things, so that mentee is going to work it out. And whenever mentee comes to you, have frequent discussion with him, okay, so that you are going to help them. Okay. So, make sure that you treat or consider mentee someone who is capable, okay, and you allow him to explore this capability. Otherwise, if you are going to spoon feed him, probably it is not good, because for everything if he goes to you and you tell him this is how it is to be done, probably mentee would not be able to develop himself as a confident, capable person. So, the idea is mentor him that you give some idea, you give some hint, and then you allow him to experience it itself. So, you go for a more developmental model, not a sponsored model where you are going to take the responsibility, right. So, in the process of this, what will happen, the person would be able to experience it itself and try to develop him, right. So, it is more important to treat mentee as a capable, a person who is going to explore himself, experience himself to grow and develop, not something that is to be spoon fed. But in the process you also show your own experiences. Okay, see, this is how I had done, okay, because that would give him an idea or input that what needs to be done. Okay. So, you need to share your own experiences with the mentee for his growth and development. Okay. And this, you know that this relationship is subject to be renegotiation. What does it mean? It means suppose you are not able to continue in the relationship, or you are not doing as per expectations, it is too applicable to both of them, then you renegotiate the relationship. You want to continue, you continue it with defined guidelines, terms and conditions, or if you want to quit this relationship or you want to close down this relationship, you can go on for that one also. Okay, provided this mentoring process is not going as usual, then you can think of renegotiation, either quitting or closing or continuing with a revised guidelines or certain terms and conditions, right. And whatever is happening during this process, please keep a record, because it is very, very important. So, keep record of all the meetings, whatever has happened, keep record of all the conversations that has happened, at least in brief, so that when you are going to renegotiate the relationship, it could be used either to quit the relationship or to continue the relationship. It is very, very important. And as a mentor, it is your responsibility to give regular feedback, have frequent discussions with the mentor for his growth and development, right. And you allow him to also express as much as possible, so that you come to know what is there, and that is why you need certain skills like listening skills, communication skills, okay, all this. And finally, you go for evaluation, last phase, right. In evaluation, basically everyone is a part of the team, evaluation team, whether it is the mentor, the mentee or the line managers, because each one of them have a different perspective. So, it is better to go for a more systematic evaluation. Okay. So, what you are going to evaluate in the process is relationship, process, relationship outcome and program outcome. Okay. So, when you are going to evaluate the relationship process, you are going to see whether you have been able to establish good rapport, whether you meet regularly or not, okay, whether mentor and mentee value each other in terms of respect and dignity or not, and whether both of them are learning in the process or not. So, that is how we are going to evaluate the process. When it comes to a relationship output, you have to see that whether learning objectives are met or not, okay, whether the mentee has improved or the mentor has improved, okay, whether line manager is satisfied with your progress or not. And if you want to look at the program output, you have to see that what is the implied turnover level, absenteeism level, or improvement in the performance, right, or the competencies. Okay. And then you can also see that whether the mentees could be grown up or whether they can grow in their career or not, okay, in terms of the growth, promotion and development, right. So, that is how we complete the mentoring implementation process. Thank you very much.